Hello, everybody. Heather here.
Hi. Also, Tom here.
And today we are going to be talking about
A Realm Reborn
in Stormblood. Hello, everybody. This is Tom. If you don't know who he is, he's my husband. He just finished base Stormblood this week. It was very exciting.
Yeah, I loved it.
And before we dive into the patch, we are going to have a discussion on just the base expansion.
Yeah, I've only done the expansion. I've not done any patch situations at all.
Yes, and Tom has a lot of thoughts, apparently. He said he put his English degree to use, writing up some notes. And Tom is going to take a little peek at the audio situation while we do it. We're good? All right, cool. All right, let me check in with the comments.
I'm trying to not look at comments. I'm so used to looking at comments.
Don't look at the
but
comments.
I'm not looking at
Tom's
comments just really in case someone doesn't get the no patch memo.
Yeah, and I know it all blends in, so... But we really wanted to do a pre-patch discussion because you have a lot to say, and I think it's interesting to talk about it now that we can revisit.
Yeah, I don't know that I have it's not like, wow, look at all the opinions you got. I think it's more like I might forget all this by the time the patch is done.
Well, there you go. All right, Tanil. Anyone else think that look on Tom's face is more of a someone send help? We need to take more
that was
thumbnails.
like a random thumbnail, though. That wasn't even like a...
Yeah. Sean is here. Hey, Sean. Bon is here. Hello. Persant says, I hate taking these thumbnail shots because I always feel so awkward face. Breeze says, hey, y'all. Alcicien's here. Hello. Jasmine's here. Hammer and Sickled is very excited. Tin is roaring per usual. Persant. Tom is watching a hockey game. This is very true. The Firebirds just started.
Right now.
They're singing the national anthem. So if we peek over here, it's because we're checking the score. Gonna be a lurker for a while because I'm still at work. No worries, Kane. It's good to see you. Lycan is here. Hello. Base Stormblood. Have fun. We got your back. Ruben is here. Hello. It's so cool because a lot of people in this chat were there for your
journey. Me actually. Well, and also help me finish it.
Yes, that was epic. Remember that in that one patch when that one thing happened?
Oh, don't spoil that.
All right, so we're gonna start with this question.
Oh, okay.
First of all, it's been a couple years since Stormblood came out. I think a lot of people, I feel like for a lot of people who are probably watching this, it's been a while since they played Stormblood. What was your overall impression of it?
So far, it's my favorite of the expansions.
Yeah.
I really loved it. I think I put some bullet point note. I have notes, so I'm looking at my phone. I'm not being rude. I'm trying to just get my notes. Okay, so I have a little section that's called Why I Like It.
Okay.
It's just bullet points.
Okay.
I liked it. Tons of variety! Exclamation point.
Do you want to expound on any of these? Okay.
So many characters, different stories, different settings, different music. You go through the desert, you go through the underwater level, you have the Far East, which is definitely not Japan. There's beaches, there's canyons, there's just like there's so much variety in terms of everything.
I guess so, huh?
And I really, really like that. Yeah, I guess this isn't too much of a thing, but what I said was that I like that Heaven's Ward. So Realm Reborn feels like it does go a lot of places, but it's also like, for me, it was also confusing because you're figuring out the game, which is like there's
like
almost nothing that can be done about, like, I don't know who these characters are, I don't know who these settings are, I don't need these names,
because you don't even know how to play
I don't know the connections of things.
Right.
Yeah, so you're learning the game, and it was really nice to go into Heaven's Ward because it felt so focused. Like, so
that's true.
Everything makes sense. It's like linear, it's clear, and I really liked that about it. What I really liked about Stormblood was it felt like the story still made sense. Everything connects and has a purpose, but it has all the variety and all the, like, it just had a lot of variety. And I really, really like, so it, like I said, Stormblood has the breadth of Realm Reborn and more, but everything is still tied together in an interesting way that makes sense.
Yeah. So, okay. As a journey of someone who's playing this game for the first time, A Realm Reborn is really kind of like getting, figuring out the world.
I feel like I'm definitely not in the tutorial levels anymore at all.
Yeah. But Heaven's Ward was like, it's snow. It's dragons.
It's gray. It's snowy. There's organ music. I loved it. It was great. Like, I'm not anti Heaven's Ward. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I just really like Stormblood.
Definitely. I think I can say with certainty that you playing through Stormblood, you had the most audible reactions.
That's probably mostly Hildebrand.
That's true. But like you said, you're in the desert, you can go underwater. It's you go to the east, you go on the ship. It is varied. So it's funny. I never even really thought about it that way.
Because I knew, and even watching the trailer before I like started playing it, pretty much the whole trailer takes place in Kugane, like in the Far East. Most of it, maybe Ralger's Reach a bit, but when you don't know the difference, it all kind of looks the same in like the super polished trailer.
Yeah.
And so I was like, cool, that's where the whole thing is. Kind of like, I know Heaven's Ward doesn't all take place in like the one same setting, but a lot of it, when I think of Heaven's Ward, I have imagery that comes to mind that's all pretty similar.
Yeah.
And that's what I was expecting here. And then when I went to start to play it, you were like, oh no, you're going to start off actually like in a desert or something first. And I was like, what? And then I was like, well, maybe I'm here for a minute. And then I go and it's like, no.
It takes a while.
Now I'm under the ocean.
Yeah. And let's see. I'm checking in on the comments.
And I'm not looking over there.
Big Alamegan energy. Lise is my favorite character, so I love Stormblood. I'm very curious to know who your favorite character is. How much time did Tom spend farming the gear in the level 63 dungeon? I don't know what the level 63 dungeon is.
I think there might be 0. I don't know.
Why I liked Stormblood? Because of Lise. That's so funny because I didn't realize that Lise was such a popular character. I get the impression I had never really heard about her before. I thought it was unique to like her.
She's very like in a world of heroes and villains. She's very relatable.
Yeah,
she's like trying to figure it out,
right?
And doesn't even know how to talk to people sometimes, or like she wants to do her thing but doesn't know like how to go about doing it. I feel like you can connect to that pretty easy. Like everybody can connect to that feeling.
It feels like 2 expansions sometimes.
Yeah.
Rabon and Lise make me so emotional. Let's see. Okay, I'm curious what you think about this because multiple people have asked that sometimes Stormblood feels disjointed. Maybe because it's so varied. It's like you're going over here and then you're going over there.
I didn't feel that way.
Well, there you go.
I don't know. I understand because It is all over the place, but I understood why I was going to each place.
Okay, I'm going to star your questions because I can do that. Ventus has a question, but I'll come back to that. Let's see. A lot of people voiced their dislike for Elise during Stormblood. Yeah, see, I got that impression also. I thought, and obviously, like, I don't even know where I'm getting this from because I don't know. It just must be like threads I've scrolled through and, various Reddit things and stuff. I don't really pay attention to all of those, but when you have a YouTube channel, you're doing research. I can't help but like scroll through comments sometimes. And yeah, my impression is that for some reason she's not a popular character, but in this community she surely is, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's the first one that everyone has brought up every time I mentioned Stormblood.
Okay, so let's have you keep going.
So here's the thing I have.
Okay, let me turn on the AC too.
Something I wrote when I first started playing it, because it took me like a month or a little over a month to get through it. So when I was, I don't know, a little bit into it, I just did some like first thoughts and impressions. I don't understand what some of these mean. So okay. I just want to share them with you. One, I called her the Viceroy, but I was referring to Yotsuyu.
Yeah.
Yahtzee.
Yotsuyu, yeah.
I said, she is so slow. And I'm going to get back to that.
Okay.
I understand that, and I stand by that one. Water levels are tricky to navigate.
Always have been.
I know. There's a theme of giving up on ideas, etc., because you can't do a thing if you're dead. And this comes back in a big way later in the story, but early on, especially when like you go with Gosetsu to like villages and stuff, and people are almost, well, actually, it's also when you go with Lise back home, people are almost okay like settling for.
Just settling, yeah.
Just settling because at least they're alive, and they're like, at the beginning, a big thing that pops up is, it's not ideal. If I'm dead, I can't do anything, but at least I'm not dead.
Yeah,
it's their low bar of standard of living. But that was interesting. It comes back in a big way. And then I wrote, Tamamizu equals tiramisu.
Isn't that the name of a Namazu?
I think there's a Namazu named Tamamizu. Yeah, he's the one that swindles us, right?
I think so.
At the beginning. Anyway, I don't know. I guess I just kept reading his name as tiramisu. And then the last note I wrote at the beginning is something I truly do not understand. I don't think there's any meaning here, but maybe someone will be like, no, that's very specific. It says, underwater Mahatma lamp teach luck. I don't know what that means.
I feel like that's an autocorrect.
I feel like there's several autocorrects.
Underwater Mahatma lamp teach luck. I have no idea what that means.
It sounds profound.
Sometimes you're just like, what did
it's
I
like
write?
A fortune cookie.
Yeah.
Underwater Mahatma lamp teach luck.
Well, do you want to go through those?
No, there's nothing to expand on those. Those are just my initial thoughts, and I think they're kind of funny. That's it.
All right. Okay, let me go back to a question that we got here.
Okay.
Ventus Vero says, did your opinion of any characters 180 for you? Someone you liked that you soured on, or a character you disliked that you ended up finding yourself enjoying?
No.
No 180s.
No 180s. Maybe the closest thing is Lise, like going from like Yida being a cool character to then, oh, this thing with Lise is really interesting. Oh, wow, she's super. Now I really like just liking her more for her actual identity. I thought she was cool from the beginning.
Yeah.
But then like actually liking her. So that maybe is the closest thing. Otherwise, like there weren't even any characters I didn't like. If I say I didn't like a character, it's like because you're not supposed to like them because they're a bad character, like they're a villain.
Yeah, right. Yeah. A bad guy, yeah.
So disliking a villain is a good thing because it means they're a good villain. But yeah, no, the characters that I didn't like because they're villains, I just continued to not like more, and the characters that I liked, I continued to like more.
Well, that's good.
So everything just kind of like amplified.
Let's see. M-Day says, for me, I didn't like Stormblood as much as the others simply because it was a series of short stories, making it feel like patch content more so than a full expansion. Do you get that vibe? Did it feel cohesive to you?
To me, it did. Yeah. I mean, I know like, but I kind of like mentioned that in some of my notes. So I don't know. We could get there as we go through it or something. But
yeah.
I understand why you could feel that way. I just didn't feel that way.
Okay, let me just catch up here. I feel like Lisa was written well in the sense that she didn't know what she was doing, which makes so much sense for her background, but she matured so much towards the end. Let's see. Avada says, I take notes, and then days later, I'm like, what did I mean by this?
Yeah.
Tamamizu is the Kojin village. Turtles underwater.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Well, tiramisu is what I just kept reading it as. Turtles.
Pimpy has a question. Did Tom even unlock the level 63 dungeon? It was an optional one, so I wouldn't have blamed him for missing
Probably
it.
not, because I definitely didn't like grind for gear or anything.
What is the level 6? We could talk about it because it was base expansion. What is the level 63
Maybe
dungeon?
it's something we can do later on a stream or something.
Just we together. We didn't farm any gear. He was just checking it off. Oh, you did it with Avada, apparently.
Oh, yeah. I do not remember dungeon names other than the Royal Menagerie is like the only one I can actually. Void Ark, I remember now.
Look at you. Who are you?
That's literally out of everything we've done. Sastasha. These are not easy names. Those are like the only ones I can remember.
Yeah.
Battle on the Big Bridge. Battle on the Big Keep.
I bet you can remember more than you think. But
I mean, I remember like doing them.
Yeah.
But like what it's called and what level it was, absolutely not.
Okay, so here's probably going to be the most popular question. What did you think of Zenos?
Really? Is he the most controversial character?
Not controversial, but
Well, I have a little bullet point on him.
I feel like when people say like, oh, what did you think of this character for Heaven's Ward? There's only one character that comes to mind. To me.
Emmerich?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone wants to, what did you think of Emmerich, right?
Okay.
I feel like with Stormblood, it's Zenos.
Sure, I could see that.
So,
Okay.
what'd you think?
I loved him,
Wow.
but not because I like him. I love him as a villain.
Yeah.
And so I wrote little blurbs for a lot of the main characters. For him, I wrote such a great villain. Not a great guy.
There's the English degree.
I don't like him and wouldn't want to hang out with him, but he's a great villain because he's scary yet unpredictable. And to me, those are always really scary villains where you can't predict.
Of course.
It's one thing when you know,
against,
like, you want to destroy happiness. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, like Gaius. It's like, okay, we know.
That's a very predictable villain. Darth Vader is a very predictable villain. He's like the Joker. Like, I don't even know if you know what you want to do or why, like, yeah, you're unpredictable. And I think the fact that for most of it, he's sort of like bored and like has like this malaise of just like, he just sort of like, he's just bored of everything, yet also vicious makes him very unpredictable to me.
So I have a hot take here.
Okay.
Did you finish?
I think that's my main blurb on him, yeah.
So I feel this is going to be a hot take. He annoys the bejesus out of me. Like,
okay.
I find him...
in real life, if you found a person who acted that like bored and jaded, you would be very annoyed.
I cannot deal with him. It's just like, you don't even care about... You just don't care. And meanwhile, everyone you're attacking cares with their life. Like, everything. And you just... It's like so meaningless to you. And I there's no why. He literally has no why, aside from like, you kind of get a kick out of this, which is like,
he needs to feel something
sadistic. Yeah, like, and it's just, I don't know. I'm just like, what is your deal?
Again, from the villain side of things, I think I think something that bothers me in a lot of like TV shows and movies and stuff is when they try to make the villains empathetic. Sometimes it works, but sometimes I'm like, I just want like a villain who is bad. And I don't need to feel... We've watched Detective Conan, and half the time we talk about, like, oh, the murderer, like, oh, they had this
huge sob story or whatever, yeah.
Sometimes that makes sense, and it can lead to really good writing and stuff, but sometimes...
I guess so, yeah.
He
just sucks. He's just, like, a sucky person.
But, again, from the point of view of, like, writing a villain...
Yeah.
Even the people who... Yotsuyu, I cannot say her name. Yotsuyu. And what's her face?
Fordola.
Even those two who are like trying to curry favor so much,
right?
Don't matter at all to him. And
at least they have a motivation that I can understand.
They have a motivation. They have backstories.
I don't know what his deal is.
I know, but that's what makes him a good villain, is that even the people who like, oh, I need to impress them stuff, they don't even realize that they can't. like.
So every time an Asian comes on screen, Tom's like, oh God, here we go.
Yeah, you want to talk about who annoys me?
I have that with Zenos. I'm like, oh, here we go. What is it this time, buddy? And for you, it's so annoying that like when you hear the music of like, you're just like, oh, like the biggest eye roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't deal with it. Let me catch up with thoughts here. Let's see. Avado wants to do a duty name quiz. I love Heather's face lighting up when Tom remembers certain names from the game. You have no idea. It's still very like you get the thing I love so much. It's still so crazy.
Like, if you dropped a Simpsons reference, I'd be like,
I misread Frixio. Frixio from the Sylph Tribe is Freak Show.
Freak Show.
Your friend, your enemy. Zenos and Emmerich have the thirsty girl demographic on lock. It's true. That I know. The community has passionate feelings about Emmerich and Zenos.
Do they? Well, Zenos has at least his armor gives him quite a figure on the backside, and they always cut to this, and it's like,
it's just his backside. I know.
It's like
there's a lot of chonk happening.
You could set a dinner table on that thing.
Stupid. Oh my gosh. Okay. Undecided Toy Store. I'm going to star your question. We're going to come back to that. Except that I can't star it. Here we go. Okay. Like it. Yes, I love him as a villain. I feel very much the same. Understandable. Super hedonistic guy. Hedonistic. What does that mean?
Only in it for like self-pleasure, basically. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no greater good. There's no greater mission.
There's no. Exactly. And you know, it's like, I know there's world domination, and that kind of makes me roll my eyes.
Well, if you go back
then I'm like, okay, you didn't even have that. You just had nothing.
Go back to like Nidhogg, who has like real specific motivations.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
very, very specific,
and declares it to the world.
Yeah,
and, yeah,
it's very different.
Let's see. Grandma Daniel, it's good to see you. I'm glad to know other players take notes. I thought I was doing it because of my age. There's so much to remember. Oh, we take notes. Yeah, don't worry. It's not just you.
You have the game
I
developer
have
spreadsheet.
The encyclopedia.
Yeah, you wrote
right
your own.
Here.
Yeah.
That's a more normal take, Heather. Let's see. I was also not a Zenos fan. Seemed like he came out of nowhere and just crushed the Warrior of Light. I was like, I just killed dragons. I'm supposedly too weak for this anime sword guy. Finally, someone had the same idea for Zenos. Thank you, Heather. I feel the same. Oh my gosh,
wow,
I had no idea.
Look, you found your people.
Gil's here. Conan is my Detective Conan. You watch as well. Tom and I watch Detective Conan like twice a day. Every time we eat, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah.
Coming up on 460
we started all the way
or
from
something.
Episode 1. The Barbarian. Yeah, that sounds like the
Barbarian.
Are we talking about
the O'Brien or the Detective?
Very different. Let's see. Fordola. Okay, there's a lot of Fordola love. What'd you think about Fordola?
See, this is, I might not be on the same page with some of the things I've seen. I just wrote Oi. She reminds me of a stubborn toddler. Like the girl who abused the fish in Finding Nemo. She looks like that girl grown up. Just like,
I don't remember.
She looks like an angry toddler to me. She totally gave up, but then ended up working twice as hard. Oh yeah, she gave up. She did the thing of like, I accept essentially being a slave, but then ended up working twice as hard to like, now that's how we get recognition, is to like essentially like work within their system and become one of them and get them to notice us. Which is weird because she was like fighting for her people to be able to live as servants in a weird way. She reminded me of when I remember being in high school and there were kids who would cheat on tests and stuff, but the things they would do to like devise cheating were like so much harder than like just studying.
Yeah.
She reminds me of that person. Like,
you're burning a lot of calories when you could just
study. You're burning a lot of calories to like be a lesser than slave civilization when like if you did just fight for the freedom that like everyone is trying to convince you to fight for, you'd actually probably have more success. I don't know. That was my yeah.
Let's see. Taneo says, as far as the Garleans, I think a lot of their thing is pure jealousy since they can't use magic. They can't use ether or anything like that. So, yeah, I've tried to, I do the thing with Zenos of like, okay, you are Garlean, you are also a prince, and a long line of...
A little bit of... Well, I want to talk to his dad a little bit later. I want to talk about that.
Okay.
Because you get some insights that I thought were pretty interesting.
Okay. Sarah says, the Asting music is the greatest ongoing meme of the Hydaelyn saga. That's so funny. Everyone's talking about.
There's such a good moment at the very end. I think it's even after the credits that I want to talk about.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, this is why the Garleans created Magitech armor and the weapons. The Astians, well, Tom has 3 more expansions of those guys. Let's see. The Xeno Stumpy is a thick 2C. That's funny because the community's nonstop memes about his big dumpy. I had no idea. He's a bit like a child burning ants just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he's definitely like not emotionally balanced.
Yeah. Oh, he's talking about Detective. Yeah, Gil. Nice. The Finding Nemo girl. It's a very interesting choice to have youth be a viceroy. It's a classic thing that happens to be obsessive with fascism. They end up becoming cultists. Okay. Undecided Toy Store has a question.
Sure.
But that's going to be like a different subject. So, do you want to finish what you were doing?
I mean, I just have notes to guide me through. I don't have like...
Okay.
I have notes. What I have left that I haven't really covered I have little blurbs on different characters. I have a couple things on battles and story thoughts.
Okay, let's actually bring this up because I don't even know if this was in base Stormblood. I think it might have been Heaven's Ward patches.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the Warriors of Darkness?
Oh, we did talk about this last.
Yeah.
They're not in Stormblood at all.
Okay.
Yeah, they left in the... Because we were just talking about it earlier. That's where Minfilia left. And I was like, where did... She just dipped. Like our administrator is gone.
Stupid.
And you reminded me like, no, she went to like the other world with the Warriors of Darkness. And I feel... This is one of those things like I feel so dumb giving my opinions on them because I feel like it's... You're just going to show that in black and white in a later video and... have me eat my words.
Oh, I see.
You want to talk about who annoys me? They annoy. Their whole thing was very interesting. Where okay, there's different worlds and there's sort of like different proportions of light and dark, and they're bringing up the concept that all light is just as bad as all dark. Like if everything is only light, it's just as devastating as everything only dark. I think it's interesting. I think their plan of how to deal with that is misguided, and the whole way. If you put yourself back in my shoes, back in like the Heaven's Ward days, not knowing anything else about them, they just show up as great value warriors of light, and and that's all that they feel like. And like, we have Warrior of Light at home. that's it. That's
the vibe.
That's the vibe that they give, and they're not much to redeem them yet that I have seen.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm probably going to be wrong about that.
I'm not saying anything.
You've said a lot.
Okay, so we're actually going to switch gears here to a question that was submitted on our Discord server.
Sweet.
So here we go.
Background.
This is from Kayan. What is your take on Doman Liberation questline and El Amigo 2? Are they too predictable, too tedious, too straightforward? Too many times getting sidelined by doing other stuff while we have some urgent matters.
Okay, so that's interesting. I actually do think I have a couple notes. I want to make sure.
Honestly, I don't even really think I had connected the dots of the East and West the first time I played it.
I don't know if I have connected the dots now.
Well, nothing. Just there's Doma happening over here and then Al Amigo happening over here.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. I wrote Doma Liberation was fun. I love all things Doma for some reason.
Yeah, you were really into it. I mean, ever since Yugiri came on screen.
Yeah, I've liked her
with
from the
with
beginning.
the refugees and everything.
Where you couldn't even like see her face or anything.
Yeah.
I've always thought she's one of my favorite characters. So they finally, and then when Gosetsu showed up, I loved him. And so getting to go learn more about them and where they came from was like, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for that. And I really wanted that. Okay, I wrote here, this kind of goes more with like the villagers and things. I said liberating the people was very satisfying and winning them over felt earned, where like, you know, you go with Gosetsu and he's like, they're going to welcome me home to my village. And there's like, get out of here. What are you doing? Like, you're going to wreck everything. You go from that to them fighting alongside you and like actually putting everything, what little they have, putting it on the line. To fight with you, and it felt very, very earned. It wasn't just like one impassioned speech or one whatever.
It took a while.
Yeah, and even I think there was even still hesitation towards the end, but they're like, we have to trust to do this. So I felt like maybe this is just a thought I had and I didn't write it down, because to go back to that question, I had this thought about the Nadim, right? The big battle.
The Nadim. Yeah.
So that was kind of an example of this question where it was like, is this too predictable, getting sidelined by other things? Because I had the thought while doing that, like that's this whole big thing that you have to go. It's like intense, and you know that was the one we had a friend that like almost rage quit the game at that.
I freaking did the stupid Nadim like 4 times because I died.
I did it once.
It was and then it's so long.
It's very long.
So when you die at the end, you have to do the whole freaking what felt like 45 minutes. Oh my! Like that was the only quest in the entire Final Fantasy 14 where I felt like I think I need to take a break.
I definitely
did it on your first try,
and I wouldn't have wanted to do it again. But what I thought was actually really cool about this, and I thought I had at the time, was like it feels very big and epic, and then I was like, wait. This isn't even the main thing we're trying. Like this is trying to just win these people over so that they will join us in the actual important thing. And I kind of thought that was interesting because it was like it was the biggest deal in the world to like that region.
Right.
It doesn't matter at all outside of that region.
Anything else,
at all. And to me, that was kind of interesting because that is very realistic. Like, how can you get someone to fight for a bigger cause or join a bigger cause?
Yeah, that's happening in a completely different country.
Yeah, if they're, it's like a hierarchy of needs. If the stuff that's in their immediate world isn't taken care of and isn't in order,
everything else doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does not matter. And so I thought that was actually really cool to like be so heavily invested in this thing that actually is not connected to the greater story. But you have to you have to show them that you're invested, you care, you understand, so that you build the trust, and then they join you.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. And that's where it's the whole thing of winning people over felt like very earned.
So did it feel like you were being sidelined?
I didn't feel that way. I know how you could feel that way.
Yeah.
But because, you're like, you could argue like, this doesn't even matter. Like just your little tribal thing that you're going to change again in like a few years. Just like, how about we just forget that and focus on like the whole world ending stuff over here?
Yeah. I think the reason why I liked it was because I really like the Mole tribe, like their whole thing of they're not even fighters, but they have to do this thing.
Yeah.
They have labeled themselves, and everyone else has also labeled them as like they just surrender or whatever because they're not fighters. And then they ended up being like the champions, and you know, it's almost like, you know, being empowered.
Yeah, and there's the one tribe that like believes in like reincarnation. And Gosetsu's like all his reaction. He ends up kind of like understanding sort of like how the beliefs bring them comfort, but I don't know. It ended up like I was laughing so hard at his reactions to that tribe at first, but then also, and I was also frustrated because I was like, guys, if you just think about what you're saying for 2 seconds, it doesn't make sense. like the
well,
fact
you
that
literally told me to read the dialogue on your screen. You're like, look what they're saying, like reincarnation or whatever.
Well, it's not like it's like
I
the
felt
guy
bad
who's
for
like,
that guy. I felt
yeah, the
bad.
guy who's like, I've never felt like a swordsman and I'm terrible or whatever.
Oh my god. I mean,
And it's like, yeah, because guess what? You're not the swordsman that died. And also, like, have you
the
noticed?
first generation
Have you
Filipino
noticed
girl
how like
who was
there's
told to be a nurse her whole life? I can resonate with that.
yeah, but it also then goes even back into the theme from previously Heaven's Ward and even before of like your life being predetermined and how much freedom do you really have, which even goes into all the other themes like Fordola's stuff and all the villagers and all that stuff.
Dragons, Ishgardians.
Yeah. Are you actually free? And they really, I haven't talked too much about the end, but they really, I felt like they brought all that together in a very satisfying way at the end.
Look at you go. I like
Look
this.
at me go.
Let's see. Tom has a crush on Yugiri. Who doesn't? Yugiri's awesome.
Those scales.
Don't look at the comments.
I know, I'm trying not to, so I'm just looking up at the
Let's see. All things
ridge.
Dova. The best part of Storm. I was going to say Shadowburner, Stormblood. Let's see. I really love that the villagers had so many different perspectives and not immediately just down to fight with you. It makes it so much more realistic. Yeah,
exactly. Because they were just like,
well, because it's like everyone has their own cause. Everyone has their own thing that they believe in. And it's like you can feel so impassioned about your thing, but like how relevant is for someone to risk their life and
they didn't even really have a cause. It was just, their cause is like we have our house and
tomorrow,
our farm, and tomorrow
like wake up
and
the
that's
next
it.
day and that's it. Yeah, there's no grand visions of this whole big thing. It's just like, do we have rice to eat the next day? Let's see. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just reading through comments.
It's so hard to not look. I'm so trained to look at the comments.
This is years
I'm trying so hard to look everywhere else.
That competition was stressful. Yeah, the Nodum. Let's see. Oh, here's something. I forgot the moment I really liked where Yugiri goes against orders to try and assassinate Zenos and you tag along. Love that bit. Very realistic. What did you think about that?
Well, because what I liked about her, even from the beginning, when she showed up in Realm Reborn, she showed up in Realm Reborn, or the patch content. Yeah. Her whole thing was just like trying to do what's best for her people, even if and the whole reason she was there by herself was because it didn't go in line with what like everyone in her homeland was thinking she should do. So like she has a history of doing what she believes to be is in everybody's best interest and the right thing, even if it's not like the official thing she should be doing. And I like that. Yeah.
I actually thought I felt conflicted.
Okay.
Because I felt like it was almost like the first time where, the main characters were not on the same page. And I almost kind of felt like, are you sure you want to do that, Oliver Bentley?
Well, I was like, it's very early in the expansion. This plan does not work out.
Yeah. Let's see. I also died Fortage doing the Nodum. Oh my god, let me tell you, because the very first part of the Nodum is like you all start running together and then everyone breaks off, and then I didn't realize you were supposed to continue.
I didn't either. I was just standing there fighting.
Yeah, I stayed with the first guy.
I was like, I'm not making any progress.
Gosetsu who like stays at the. So I was like, of course I'm gonna stay with you.
And everybody just keeps respawning, and I'm like, God, I'm making no progress.
I know. And then I was like, I think everybody left. I pull up the map. It's just the world map of the Azim Steppe or whatever.
I happened to accidentally stumble on where I needed to go.
God, I remember looking it up like, where the hell am I supposed to go? Let's see. Many of the solo events in Stormblood are way too clutch. I wish I had a list of them. Let's see. Nodum is my favorite bit. Feels so amazing that you're basically become crowned emperor and you're just like, here, Hien, take it.
Yeah.
That solo duty made me feel really immersed in the story.
Yeah. You really feels like you're like of the people and living in the world. And
let's see. Stormblood duties, in my opinion, truly felt like a step up from Heaven's Ward. Let's see. How does Tom feel about Sadhu? He never remembers who Sadhu is. Let me see if I can pull up a picture. Hold on.
Yeah, I will remember, but off the top of my head, it's...
Let me see. Dothral tribe? 110. Let's see.
Sorry.
You'll know. Sadu.
Oh, yeah. She's like the leader of the reincarnation tribe.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't dislike her or anything.
I like her moxie. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Gusto.
Yeah. I mean, she's trying to be the best leader she could be.
She's like...
It's just like...
badass.
Yeah. Just a little bit of critical thinking, though.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when it comes to religion, though. It's like I'm not going to criticize your beliefs.
Oh, I know, but that's also what gets really
right. I know.
I'm trying to think of how this applied to something else. Oh, this applied to
connect the dots.
It did.
Go.
It applied to part of the Hildy quest line. I don't know
are
if
you
we're
gonna
get into that.
Are you gonna spoil me?
Because that I know not everyone has gone to that, but it there's a similar through line with a character in there in terms of like your whole work, like it's like the Truman Show. Like you accepted the reality of the world that you were presented. Why would you question it? Oh, wait, things are happening that are making you question it.
Right.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah. Let's see. Serena of the Mole Tribe. Love her. Yeah, she's sweet. Serena, what'd you think about her?
Again, I'm going to need a photo.
let me pull up the photo. Serena.
Oh, yeah. No, she was really nice.
Yeah.
She was just like nice.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the mole people, they're all very nice.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, here's the real question. What does Tom think Namazu tastes like? It's like the salmon thing.
Wait, the little guys?
Yeah. the crayon salmon. It's like white. We have a
Oh.
Did you want to
Oh, I don't know what. Wait, why are we talking about this?
Well, because I was like, oh, what does Namazu taste like? And I think they're a fish. They look
Yeah.
like a fish.
Oh, okay. No, yeah. Yeah. The thing Heather's talking about is, I forget what it's like, a webcomic I saw a while ago, and it was like a guy talking to a fish, and it was a salmon, and he's like, the salmon was like, do you guys know a lot about my people or something? I was like, yeah, we even have a color named after you. And he's like, oh, is it like silvery blue shiny like my scales? And the guy's like, no, it's pink. And he's like, why is it pink? And the guy's like, oh. And he's like, wait, why is it pink?
Ronan says he did the same thing, just sat there, lost so many times. Yeah, same. Let's see. Pimpy says, I may have missed it, but what are your thoughts when Ralger's reach was attacked?
Oh, that I actually did have in my notes, which is essentially like bum. Like, because that's early on.
That's, I think,
definitely
your first,
a bummer.
First encounter with Zenos, I believe.
Yeah. And it did the thing, which is good, of setting up, like, after that, I felt like no characters were safe. So that always stresses me out.
Yeah.
That drives me crazy. Like, sometimes I like a little bit of plot armor. But it was early on. It was pretty devastating. It makes you emotionally invested. And then it really is like, well, okay, anyone could go at any time. And that was, I think I made a joke at one point where it's like, anytime the thing pops up that says like a series of extended scenes will play, I'm like, oh, a main character is about to die. Like, that's how it felt for a while.
Let's see. Oh, Sarah puts a marker on the main NPC of his solo dude just so I don't lose him. I didn't even know you could do that.
I didn't know you could do that either.
That sounds like a great idea. Let's see. Okay, here's something. Undecided Toyster says, as someone who hasn't done any Hildy, how would you pitch his questline to get me hyped for it? Apparently, Hildy was the first time that you cried in the game.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything for you. The thing, okay, it maybe isn't for everyone. Like, everyone's not going to love it as much as I do.
I can definitely see how not everyone would like it.
Yeah. The reason I like it is because it's super clever and fun, and it's such a different shift in tone from the rest of the game. So, like...
You love ending the night playing Hildy.
Yes, I love the writing. I love the goofy like poses and modeling and animation and all that stuff is just like, it's so Looney Tunes cartoony in a world that like,
but clever though,
isn't. It's very clever.
Yeah.
Other things that I really like, something, I don't know, like Futurama, for example, which is the same thing. It's very cartoony and goofy, and then suddenly there's an emotional like,
there's heart.
And the heart. I feel in those things that start out with like the goofiness, when they have the heart, it hits twice as hard.
Dang. Okay, Tom.
And that's, and I'm only, this far into the Hildy quest line. But that was where it was like, oh, it is very well earned, and like it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm hooked.
Yeah, he loves it.
So if you like that kind of thing, if you like kind of goofy, silly things that can then suddenly like almost sneakily slip in a little bit of heart, you'll love it. If you don't like that kind of thing, you won't like it. If you like Futurama, you'll like it. They feel similar in tone.
Let's see. Tin says, you guys are talking about all these things making me second guess if I even did Stormblood MSQ because you're all saying names I just don't remember.
Well, yeah, that's why I have to have her look it up in the dictionary.
Turn a try. I loved it as an aura. A little bit of bonus dialogue too. I can imagine if you are aura.
What's that?
The race.
Oh,
the
okay.
It's like, it's all about you almost get backstory on your own character.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's see. Sadhu is great. We have a lot of Sadhu folk or fans here. Let's see. Let's see. I need to find that salmon comic.
See how this guy just fell asleep right here? He really fell asleep.
I would pull up the Finlay cam. Yeah. Zenos and his golf club randomizer. That is perfect. Oh yeah, this too. Yeah, because Y'shtola got like sliced down at Ralger's Reach.
Yeah.
With I think it was Conrad.
Yeah, but then luckily she was like, it was pretty quickly. They were like, she's okay. I was like, okay, because the thing with her that I've been very scared of is way back ages ago when she came back from like the ether and she's like blind.
Yeah.
And she was talking to the old lady, the old witch.
Matoya.
Yeah. I felt like she foreshadowed like you're on borrowed time.
Yeah, you were convinced.
Yeah, I there's a couple characters I'm just like waiting for them to die.
Okay, Pimpy says in A Realm Reborn when Vesper Bay was attacked, it felt like we could have made a difference if we were there when Ralger's Reach was attacked and we still lost. It made me question how much difference we'd make. I like that.
That's really, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you really get a sense of Zenos' power. It's like, okay, this guy's on another level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's, I think that's the first time we were taken by surprise in that.
Is that when you have your first battle with him, but he leaves just halfway through? He just like gets bored and leaves?
Yeah, he's like, you guys all suck, basically. He just left. Let's see. I love Hildy, but yeah, it's an acquired taste. I could definitely see how it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But
it's very much for me.
Yeah, it's definitely Tom's thing. The only reason we lost Ralger's Reach was because I had a big breakfast that morning. Being a healer main during MSQ is funny because I'm always like, what do you mean they're dead? I have rays. How funny. I didn't even think about that because I did it with Dragoon. Yeah. Okay, let's see. So let's move on to the next question.
Sure.
Give me a second. I think this is kind of a lot of the questions overlap. How did you like the dichotomy between the eastern and western fronts of the war? Did you feel it added to or detracted from the story? Was it paced well? Did it appeal to you? Which was your favorite? It better be Doma. And this is from Amida.
Yeah, everything Doma is my favorite, so we agree on that. It's weird, like for some reason in my mind I didn't really separate like east west that much other than like vibe.
Right.
But I don't know how to describe it. I guess I liked it. It didn't detract from the story. I guess that's the big question. I like the thing of like there's a bigger or overarching thing, and you actually have to get people to understand what you have to get them to a point where they can even think about caring about it. And
it's just so real, you know.
It's so real and so hard. And if anything, that's the fiction is like getting a whole bunch of people to actually get to that point because there's so many fantastical and superhero things where it's like as soon as you're king, as soon as Braveheart is like they can take our lives but never take our freedom, all right, everyone's on board. And it's like okay, but like
dang, Braveheart callback. Well, I was like 6 or something.
I don't know, I was trying to think of something where somebody led a bunch of people who were all on the same page about it,
right?
Yeah, and that is just way oversimplified. It's a thing that goes back to even like Heaven's Ward of, yay, the good side won, and not everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're evil.
Yeah.
And that's really muddy and complex and difficult.
I guess it was cool to kind of see like how different societies are responding to the same Garlean rule.
Yeah.
You know, of being so, I mean, I guess they were kind of the same, and they were both resigned.
Yeah. Right. And some were, more easily taken advantage of than others. Like when there's a part where like the guards go into the village and they're like, we need people to help with maintenance. Like, you guys broke this, you're going to clean it. We'll take it. You're only going to stay here as long as we need you to clean stuff up, and then it'll come back. And people are like, they don't want to go, but they're willing to go. And it's like, they might know, they might not know, but it's like, they're never going to come back. Like, this is not the deal that's actually going to happen, but it's like, they're almost willing to believe it just because, I don't know, like they want to play fair so badly, but like, you're not playing with someone who's playing fair.
Right.
No matter how much good faith you
have.
That
is not what's being asked of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another question that could lead us to the next person to talk about.
Sure.
Do you feel that Yotsuyu was a good villain? In base Stormblood, she struck me as insanely cruel and sadistic, and even her end in the castle wasn't super satisfying. She just seemed like a cog in a machine who didn't even acknowledge the cruelty she imposed.
Yes, I agree.
So let's talk about her.
Yeah, so I wrote, she is honestly so frustrating. And that's where I was like, she's so slow. So first off, she is incredibly slow. If this isn't something that like stuck out the first time, if you go back and play through Stormblood again, literally every time she's on screen, like, she's slow talk, she has to puff on her cigarette, she has to look and like roll her eyes, and I'm like, oh my God. And for some reason, every time of like the first 5 big cutscenes you have with her, which are super long, was like right when I needed to go somewhere.
I know.
And I was like, it's the thing where you accidentally click a thing, and I'm like, I'm trying to set myself up for a good like picking up point later on.
Right.
I didn't realize I was going to launch into a voiced cutscene. And then I'm just like, oh my God, like of all people to pop up on screen right now. And I got to the point where I would dread it because I'm like, I need like the 2x on her. She's
you want a 2x?
So slow. I actually thought her voice acting was fantastic.
Yeah.
But like so slow. She's very frustrating. And I did say though, these not the slowness necessarily, but how frustrating she is a very good quality for a villain. Because again, when there's a villain and I'm like, I hate this person, they're frustrating. I'm like, oh, like, yeah,
right, yeah,
you're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Everything she does is slow. I wrote that a lot. I wrote, she can't seem to think of anything beyond her own perspective, and that is frustrating. They did do a whole childhood flashback, which kind of made her a little more sympathetic, where you sort of saw her like as a kid, and as a child, she seemed very like scared and normal, and you kind of saw how she fell into the situation she is, which sort of made her a little sympathetic. I said, yeah, but then the whole thing with Gosetsu, yeah, for now she sucks. I was glad that I was so frustrated with her that even when the castle collapsed and it seemed to be the end of Gosetsu, I was like, you know what? Maybe price worth paying to like get rid of her. like at least she's also gone.
Yeah.
And I really loved him. But let me see, because going back to Gosetsu, well, I swear I wrote stuff that like is not in here. Seeing Yosetsu, seeing them stuck together at the end, because at the very, very, very end, you find that he's alive. They're stuck on a little island. She's there also. And I said that was a relief because he's alive, but it's also pretty funny. And I wrote, gosh, she drives me nuts, but he'll be a good influence on her, I think. If it's just the two of them literally stuck on an island having to survive, there's no way she can keep up her like...
Right. Because he's not going to be like a Granny Watt or whatever the guy's name was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll break her, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, I liked her. I liked her a lot more than Zenos. Gosh damn it! I had the opposite thing. Whenever Zenos came on screen, I was like, here, Here he is gonna talk about like how.
Yeah, see, I was entertained every time he came on screen.
God,
I was like,
I just could not. I could not. I can't even tell you how much I could not. I was like, if all it is that you want to be the #1 fighting champion, then go to freaking Ulda.
right.
Go join the tournament. You know, like it's just like I don't know. It just seems so like. Why are you the prince? Like, why do you care about any of this?
It can go into, cause you don't. It's just because you're the prince. You know, you didn't earn that. You were born into it, which again goes into the whole thing of like
that's why you are
predetermined, you know, existence and roles and things.
I will say though, the first time where I really felt like very, very sad in Final Fantasy XIV was the castle when Gosetsu went down. I was so sad, like sadder than Horsey, and you know, I mean, I all felt it, but Gosetsu, I was just like, my guy, no, and the everything about like how he's, you know, doing what he believes in and protecting like Hien all the way to the very end. It just made me like, oh, it's just heartbreaking.
I know. They really stood and talked for a long time while he was holding that castle. Like, couldn't you kind of shimmy forward while we're talking and we all...
Or someone help out, you know?
Maybe some magic or something that can...
Okay, here, I'm going to catch up with a lot of the comments and you can talk about something else while I do that.
Well, if you're catching up with comments, it's just...
it's crazy how far apart those two places are geographically.
Yeah.
Teleportation fees at Aetherite bill. Tom needs to glam Adam to look like William Wallace now.
Who's William Wallace?
I have no idea. I thought you were going to know. Eddie says, definitely a big fan when they add nuance to the rest of the world and do it well in the story and world building.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yes. Fortune Canon Res isn't a thing. It's a game mechanic only. They say several times things like you can only bring them back from the brink of death and similar.
Sure. That makes sense.
Let's see. Both also face different types of abuse by their legatus, Yotsuyu versus Zenos. Really? What was Zenos is? But don't talk about it if it's not base expansion. Let's see.
Wait, different types of their...
The legatus. Which would be... Isn't it Varys?
What is this? What are we... Sorry, I was reading and listening, and now I'm. But I think that actually might tie into something I had in my notes. That's why I was curious.
I feel like the legatus isn't that's Varys, right? Like I guess he's the king. I don't know. I can't remember what legatus.
Yes, like I don't know what the word means.
I think it's in Encyclopedia 1, not 2.
Okay.
And it's gonna be. I have to.
That's okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Tin says the depiction of the war was very different on both east and west sides. I wonder why they chose to fight separately instead of unified, and why does Lise look so cute in that dress and not me? That dress was like so adorable. Let's see. I don't think anyone raised my blood pressure the way Zenos and Yotsuyu did when I first played Stormblood. How funny. 'Cause she's on opium all the time, dude. Of course she's slow. Yeah, okay. Sven is saying Raise is not a revive from death, but a wake up from being knocked unconscious. But when they're slow, they force you to go at their pace and poses themselves above you.
True.
For now, she sucks. LMFAO. Let's see. Vetty never noticed how frustratingly slow she was because I love her every time she was on screen. I loved her too.
It's funny.
I think because she was so different. You know, you have Nidhogg, you have Zenos, you have like
she's a great villain. Like my frustration with
Ilberd, and she's over here calm, cool, and collected, and it's like, what are you talking about? Everything is fine. I've got everything under control.
Till she doesn't.
Right. But you know, she's just it was almost like well, I was gonna say like kind of like Cruella DeVille, but she was actually crazy. But just like I don't know. It's like you can tell that she is real happy with how the world is. Because obviously she's benefiting,
right.
you know? Let's see. I couldn't help but giggle during the castle collapse because it just takes so long and everyone is being so dramatic, but just kind of standing there. Both Zenos and Yotsuyu entertained me so much. What does that say about me? Boy, did they talk a lot while he had bullets in him.
Yeah.
Let's see. I would have been very sad, but then I also strongly believe in the JRPG thing where they're not dead until we actually see the body.
Yeah, it's definitely like...
Oh, William Wallace's Bravehearts, dude.
Oh, it like, sounds familiar.
Let's see. Lycan says, I felt her story was more sad than any thoughts of her being a villain. She was taking advantage of her whole life and then ultimately couldn't break out of the cycle until she was gone. But I think that's like a lot of, like, I guess, you know, being taken advantage of is different, but I feel like a lot of the Alamegans were kind of in that, you know, or even the Ishgardians. It's like you kind of were just born into this situation that you...
It's very much a recurring theme.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting because the way different people handle it.
Let's see. While in a master seminar for philosophy, many of us played 14 and we enjoyed identifying the moral compass Square applies to characters, and Zenos' personality from the genealogy of morality worked. Wow. Varys is the emperor of Garlemald, Zenos' father, not Legatus. Who is the Legatus? Basic Zenos directly managing Garabania. Okay, base expansion. Zenos was directly managing Garabania. Yotsuyu oversaw Othard, but that was under Zenos' like order. Okay, go ahead.
What are we going?
Oh, here we have one more question. Let's see. No. Well, here are some favorites.
Sure.
That we can kind of just look through. Pimpy, Kain, Veti, and Bond shared some of their favorite trials, lines, characters, dungeons, solo
Pimpy
duties.
said favorite trial was Royal Menagerie, but at launch. I really liked it. Obviously, I did not play it at launch, so I'm curious what has changed.
How is it different?
Yeah.
Yeah. Royal Menagerie, we got to play with many people who are watching this right now, and it was so epic. We had such a great time. It was so fun.
Sorry, I'm reading through all of these.
Yeah. Feel free to like pick at any of these. Who was your favorite beast tribe?
I mean, the Namazu were the only ones that really...
Kojin.
Oh, I really like the Kojin, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot. Because there was that first mission where you met, what's his face?
The
blue turtle.
Sauron?
Yeah.
The blue turtle.
Sauron. And to meet him, you have to like sneak around Kugane, and like you can't let the royal guard see you. And then eventually you run into him, and you don't know if he's good or bad. It turns out he's like just super good.
So nice.
Like super just genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was one. I like him a lot. He's one of those people, every time he pops up on screen, I'm just like, yay.
Yeah. Any trials or dungeons that stood out?
I mean, it's hard for me to remember, honestly, any that aren't the last like couple.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. I really liked these quotes. These are great. All the ones that you guys mentioned here. Farewell, my first friend, my enemy.
Yeah.
Do you know who?
I remember it, but I don't remember. That was Zenos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As he...
To us.
Yeah.
That's so sad. But
Is
like,
it?
not, I don't know, like...
Okay, see, are you mourning Zenos?
No, I'm not. And let me tell you also, like...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You want to talk about like the JRPG thing of not seeing the body? When finally Estinian shows up and the eyeballs are sitting there. And,
I had the same reaction.
And he's like, oh, look at, like, you have nothing left in you. And I'm like, come on, man. And he's like, just to be safe. Thank you. Like, I don't care if it's necessary or not. Let's not work off assumptions anymore.
Of an era. Yeah.
Yeah. So we think. But yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Tom did not stream his playthrough, but we're going to stream MSQ starting with a patch, I think.
Probably not all of it.
Yeah. Because
because I just want to play sometimes.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you have any thoughts on the Void arc line?
I mean, it was fun because I did it with everybody. I like Ketchy a lot, and that's sort of. I mean, I actually really like those characters a lot, but I haven't continued it since we all played it together.
Let's see. Legatus is effectively a general in charge of a legion, but not all of the military. Yeah, so like Gaius, right? Let's see. Shinryu at launch was much harder than a few weeks later. People were stating it was too difficult, so they toned it down.
Oh, wow.
What did you think of the whole Royal Menagerie?
I mean,
like Zenos' whole plan to merge with Shinryu and the whole.
It's so insane. It's so insane.
He's thinking on a different level.
Yeah, it's insane. But it is pretty darn epic because we ended up playing through it again just as a duty roulette,
and had a hard time.
Well, we weren't playing with our crew here. We were playing as like half randos.
Yeah.
And it was a little harder.
Jiro was us. Jiro, maybe Zero was there with us.
We had a light party and we were in tune, but then the others, it was more fun. I think there's
some first timers in that party. Yeah. Okay, because we had to do it again.
The first timer thing, I don't mind it, but it was just like
we died.
The way I know, but
yeah.
I'm not having a problem because someone's playing it the first time. Let's be clear. I didn't go through it once, and the second time, like, oh, these sprouts. It was just like a way more fun situation with our whole big group.
Yeah. Let's see. I guess Royal Menagerie was a spike in difficulty at launch.
Interesting.
Which is why Pimpy liked it. A large spike, but it was fun to me, and I understand I'm not the main audience. You see more mechanics. Item level is now tied to HP, so it was a lot more damaging. Wow. Okay, Zenos' death. You want to talk about this? Did you expect that was the way? Actually, it makes sense, because how else?
I mean, actually, no, it's not what I expected. It does make sense, and it's very frustrating, because obviously, like they were saying, this, no. Like, you have to come and pay.
Accountability.
You have to be accountable, you can't. But again, from the point of view of a very, like, scary, unpredictable villain, it's exactly perfect. Yes. And that led into...
Ooh, tell us, Tom.
Well, I'm just going to jump into, so, like, you see, I think it's after the credits, but you see the thing with Varys, like, essentially not caring, if anything, being relieved.
So the screen cuts to Varys.
Yeah.
Who is the Emperor.
Yes.
Zenos' dad. A soldier comes in to report that Zenos has been killed.
Mm-hmm.
And Varys does not care.
Yeah, I forget exactly what he says, but somebody, either him or the general, says something about Zenos being like essentially like a mad dog in a way, or a monster or something. And Varys says like, "I'm aware of exactly what he was, and like he
has no place here," or something like that.
Yeah, he's basically like he was never like, he's almost relieved because now that he's not an heir or whatever, then it's like, okay, clearly Varys didn't think he was. Which is almost even more tragic that this whole time, the guy who thought he was just on top of everything was like...
Your dad wasn't going to give you anything anyway.
Like, you were already a failure. But that ties into what I think is one of the most interesting things in the whole expansion. And how everything tied together. And I
held this one. All
right. Hope that I wrote it here. Did it not? Okay. I'm just calling it, in quotes, sins of the father, because this even ties into Heaven's Ward and all kinds of other stuff. And this goes back to Rauban.
Okay.
Who's great, and who I'm also waiting to die every time he's on screen.
Tom keeps, every time Rauban comes on screen, he's like, all right, this is it.
So something that happens, I said I really thought Rauban was going to die at the end. Especially he had us deliver his sword to Pippin. Give this to my son. And then there was a whole thing about like, I'll be fighting alongside you just as a normal soldier or whatever. And I was like, oh God. And then even when you're dealing with Zenos at the very end, he shows up and I'm like, here it is. Like, it's the thing of they've even talked about other characters like Alphino's grandfather, like, and even what's her face, Izelle, who I really like, and shouldn't have just called her what's her face, but all these are different characters that have been brought up at different times. Essentially, like they died and they went into the time they died knowing they were going to die, and it was what they had to do, kind of. And I was like this is his version of that. Okay. Great. It didn't happen. He's still alive. And I was like, not that I want him. I do not want him. Let's be clear. I do not want him to die, but I'm like, I can't take this anymore. So I was kind of confused. They're like, why this whole buildup? Like, what does this even mean so far? At least so far.
Yeah.
And I put then seeing how Varys reacted to the news of his son's death at the end and saying, I knew he was a monster or whatever. Rabban's actions show how being responsible for the actions of your parents can be positive and negative. So Pippin and Rabban, Zenos and Varys are like yin and yang.
Okay.
So Pippin has a father who is a great soldier, a great warrior, basically like a perfect role model, right? Okay. And I have a feeling that if Pippin at some point was like, I'm going to be a weaver or whatever, I have a feeling he would have been allowed to do that. But he wanted, I guess, seeing the role model of his father, he wanted to go down that path.
Fighter role, yeah.
And so he has all the support to the point where then his dad is literally like handing him like, take my sword, like lead the army, do the thing. Okay. I will follow your command. Like, I trust you that much. Very good parenting. The flip side of that being Zenos, whose parent clearly hates him, even though he's a prince and he's been afforded all the luxuries and all the privilege and all the everything. He like all the money in the world couldn't buy your dad's love, could it? Like,
oof. Oh.
Oh. And it ends with him literally just like killing himself almost for fun, like in a weird like, and then his dad not even caring,
yeah, because
his dad was never honestly Zenos could have been like the perfect son, and I still don't think Varys would be like, yes, let me pass on my like I don't think he would ever want to pass on anything. And like you said, if all that Zenos wants, because Lise I think said like even at one point Zenos was just a baby in a crib,
right? Mm-hmm.
Like he wasn't born this way. If all that it was like, okay, this is a guy who is who really wants to just fight and battle and stuff, like, yeah, just go be a warrior, a gladiator, go fight in the things. Like you can literally do that for crowds of people cheering you on. But you can't because you're stuck. Right. Where you were born, you were stuck here in this lineage, even if like
you had expectations, yeah.
Yes.
Or there were expectations of you.
And to me, that you want to talk about dichotomy, that was really interesting. Is those two things. And so I don't know if that was the purpose or not, but all the things of me feeling like Rabban's going to die because he's handing things over to Pippin was not foreshadowing him dying, but it was showing the difference between like a parent inspiring and motivating their kid to be whatever they want to be, to the point where you trust them to take over.
Yeah, you pass it on.
You literally pass the baton, versus like the parent who we're just going along with, bloodlines and tradition or whatever. And I'm glad that he's gone because he was. So it's I thought that was like really, really powerful.
I had never even thought about that, Tom.
I don't know if I just pulled that out of thin air, but that was the thing that stuck out to me a lot.
All right, let me catch up with the comments. What did you think of Bardam's medal? That was the one that had the like Indiana Jones ball.
I remember that, but I don't.
Yeah, it had the boss that you didn't fight. You had to like run around.
Yeah, that was fun. I don't know, maybe it's because we played with fun people for a lot of these that they were more fun. Yeah.
See, you guys. Let's see. Let me scroll through. The gear is all cute, but you can't tie any of it. Have fight mechanics changed noticeably from ARR to Heaven's Ward and now Stormblood? I'm in Dawn Trail now, and the evolution mechanics is substantial. What did you think about like mechanics. I mean, I can't remember what fight it was, but you had to do your first active time maneuver, and you were.
I was like, what does that mean? I mean, then I just. That's fine. That was
when you asked Tom to button mash. Oh man,
that's Royal Menagerie, right?
The keyboard. No, it was. There was one that was like way earlier than that. I can't remember which one it was.
There was one. I don't remember what it was. We had a hard time. We did a dungeon, and it was like the middle boss of the dungeon. We died 3 times.
Oh, it was with Jiro.
Yeah,
Jiro.
It was Yumi, Jiro, and a random person who was really
Nip.
great. Yeah, they were trying so hard, and they kept patting us every time.
Oh
we
my
died.
god, what was it? It was It wasn't Alamigo because we did that. I think Avatar was there.
It was a smaller one.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. Oh my gosh, I need to know. How do I look this up?
I have no idea. But
hold on, let me look this up because I feel like this is kind of an interesting.
Well, but some of the mechanics there were like he would do like a grid thing, and you had to like go in the middle of the grid, and then there was like an attack or whatever, and it was really tricky. And then there was a solo duty after that where it was where you have to fight the wolf man, like the lone wolf. I forget whatever tribe it was.
Yeah.
It was like, and Alphen was like, we have to fight to prove that we don't have to fight. Like, what are we doing?
It was Castro Mabanya.
Yeah. Okay. So that like middle boss in there.
Yeah, there was one boss. It wasn't even the final.
The main boss we beat in the first try, no problem. Like he was kind of very straightforward.
We did it 4 times.
Yeah, it was hard.
Well, it was me and you. We kept getting blasted
because it was like this grid thing. But then that mechanic was put into that solo duty later. Yeah. But even further, where it was like there was the grid, and then it was the thing where it shows where the grid is, and then where it's going to be, and so essentially the whole
thing is
floor is covered, and you have to just like time your movements. But then there's also this like
overlapping.
Basically, there's like one little spot that is only okay sometimes to be there. And you have to like remember that one spot. It was like very, very tricky.
Yeah.
But that was like really fun. And it was cool because I would never have been able to do that if we didn't do that earlier.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, Carolyn says, Yotsuyu frustrates me. I just can't understand reacting to cruelty by perpetuating cruelty. It actually makes them less sympathetic to me because they know the consequences of what they're doing.
That's how I felt too. I was like, when we saw her backstory, I actually got really excited because I was like, oh, this is where she becomes endearing to me.
Nope.
No. And that's exactly it. Is like,
because I can't understand it. I would never have that reaction. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
like, why? Yeah.
Obviously, her story's not over, but for where it is right now.
Let's see. Let's see. I love Pippin using Raubon's sword as a Lala. Even the great Louis Soir. Someone should have given Raubon a hand. Let's see. I adore that Pippin had a fight as Dark Knight to use Raubon's gladiator sword. I laughed out loud. See, these are things like I do not understand because I don't know the different classes. Let's see. Okay, Avida says Varys knew how messed up psychologically Zenos was. Reminds me of like IRL interviews with the parents of killers, nature versus nurture, and all of that, of course. But sometimes they are just born wrong.
Yeah. And I was curious because Varys made it seem like he was born wrong, but then Lys made it seem like he was nurtured that way. And you don't really know.
Yeah. Dang. That's good. Pippi says, not gonna lie, Tom, I think you get more out of this game story than 90% of the player base does. Let's see.
I also miss like 90% of the things happening, and I don't know what character is and what dungeon is what. So maybe I'm making connections that aren't even there.
But I mean, like, don't take this the wrong way. But I think that you're not going to enjoy the fighting and the battles and the trials as much because you know.
Yeah, definitely.
There are people who play this game for that.
No, that's why I like the Hildy quest line.
Yeah. You know, I get it. Let's see. There's a lot of cool parallels in 14. They think they go out of their way to signal moral choices via this in every expansion. Let's see. Soul extraction.
Yeah, that was one of the fights that your soul gets extracted. You have to like return to your body.
Oh yeah, you had to like.
But I didn't know because normally when
over.
something weird happens, you escape. So I ran away from my body.
Did you do that with a group?
Yeah. Hopefully no one saw.
Oh, this is cute. The best part about watching these Let's Talks is knowing what I know. Now I get to watch Tom experience these things for the first time, and I love watching our little baby boy grow up into a black mage man. That's so cute. Don't be mean to Raban. You means no arm.
Oh boy. But he's still got quite an army.
I don't know if you guys. I think
it's all right. He's all right.
I don't get it. Oh, I had to think about that one. Oh, I was like, what do you... You said it like a pun, and I was like, huh? Let's see. This is a good question. Now that you're approaching Stormblood post-patch, where do you think the story will go?
You have built it up like this is...
No, I have not.
You've not told me anything that happens, but you're like, there's a big developments in the patch. It's not the like.
Oh, in the patch, yeah.
Yeah, I don't expect it to be go deliver a bunch of mail to people again.
What I remember is that this patch feels kind of like its own expansion. I mean, I feel like they all,
I feel like there's so many loose ends still.
Okay, like what?
I mean. Well, okay. The void that Zenos leaves, there's like a power vacuum is like what that's called.
Oh, okay.
That's a big deal. And then you...
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
And then you also have... Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second.
Sorry.
I don't know. That whole thing, though, whatever's going on there, obviously the Empire's not like...
I cut you off, I don't know, an hour ago about Varys' scene. We never finished that.
Yes, because that's one of the loose ends. So, and that's the thing. I feel bad. This was like a laugh out loud moment to me. So.
Oh yeah, you did laugh out loud. Like,
yeah. So really? A couple of things that popped at the end. As we're going through and they introduce the big raid for the patch content.
Yeah. With
Sid, and then Nero shows up, is like one of the funniest moments so far in the game. Just Sid's reaction of like, no, absolutely not, no way.
It's the slow walk of Nero.
He has like Oakley sunglasses that he like takes off in slow motion, and it's just like,
I can't deal with Nero. He's just so funny to me.
I don't know where he ends up, but in A Realm Reborn, and especially because you talked about him so much, I thought he was like the villain in the game.
I mean, he thinks he is.
Yeah, but I know, but that's what makes it. I didn't realize like. Wait, like you're so, at least currently, not particularly relevant
C character, yeah.
But in your mind, you do have main character syndrome, like, and it's really, really funny. But yes, so of course this whole thing happens. Varys doesn't care about Zenos, and then who shows up? One of the Asians, of course. And I'm like, oh my god, because it's always the same thing, like duh, and then the camera pans over. And someone's standing under a spotlight. I don't know where they bring these lighting effects with them. And it's like, oh God, okay. But then he did the thing where he's like, no, in fact, and he turned around, he looked over and took his mask off, and you don't see the Asian's face. So that seems interesting. But you see Varys' shocked reaction is like, I feel like it needs to be redone because it's like distractingly goofy, and I don't think
it's like a Hildy shocked.
Yes, it literally looks like in Beavis and Butthead when Butthead has a shocked reaction. It's like the same kind of expression, and I feel like it might need to have a little more weight to it than that. He's just like, ugh.
So I was sitting next to Tom,
but he says you, and I'm like, okay, so who is it? Really brings in a lot of questions there.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Hilarious, but interesting.
I completely forgot who it was.
Do you remember?
And then I remembered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it, we just talked, is it Nero?
I'm not going to say anything.
Don't say.
That's a laugh because maybe you're right. Who knows?
Sure. Well, see, that's what I imagine him being, a total goof, and then suddenly it's like, oh, when I'm not on screen, I'm over here pulling all the strings for everything.
Right.
But still, I'm like obsessed with Sid. I don't know, maybe. He has an Asian look about him, like
Nero.
yeah, or at least I imagine what one looks. I don't know. So yeah, that's a whole thing to figure out. There was a thing with Lise where she's like, you know, I can't be a Scion anymore. I have to stay here, which I'm bummed if it means that she's gonna kind of like peel off and like she's not really part of our main group going forward. I don't know. But I like that everyone did the same thing as when Alphino tried to dissolve the Crystal Braves, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, it's like, you can be here, that's fine.
Yeah.
But like, you're not one of us. And I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the thing of like,
because
we defeated the bad guy, now what?
Yeah.
And that's like the whole dynamics of like this world have shifted in all the ways, not just because of that, but all like East and West and the whole thing. Like, obviously you have to see like, what does that lead to?
Well, I feel like going into Stormblood, you could have, I feel like it was clear what you were going to get into, you know, like,
yeah,
Alamigo's been brought up, you know, the whole way through up until that point.
Yeah.
You already met Yugiri, so you knew you were, you know, I don't think it was a surprise that you were going to go to Doma.
No.
But I feel like, I mean, how do you feel about Shadowbringers? Can you make any kind of...
I literally know nothing.
Like, you can't even, like, try to... If someone told you $1 million, you got to make a guess.
Okay, Shadowbringers, Warriors of Darkness, bringing shadows because there's too much light. I feel like maybe something with... Maybe that'll have to come back. I know nothing, though.
All right.
And I don't want to know anything.
Yeah, no, we're not going to tell you. I'm just curious.
I didn't know anything about Stormblood either.
I just wanted this prediction on tape, and then we can revisit.
Something with Warriors of Darkness.
How old am I?
Warriors of Darkness, yeah, because Warriors of Darkness bring shadows, right? Darkness, shadows. Yeah. I have to be right. Anyway.
Okay, let me... did you go through all your notes? Did you say everything you wanted to say? Let me just catch up with...
At least the main stuff. Well, I didn't talk about Hildy because I don't know if that's 100% related, and I know even I think I'm past you in that, and people in here haven't done it yet, so I don't want to spoil anything there. Gosh, it's good.
You cried.
Yeah.
See?
It's Gigi.
I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Okay, let's see. Sarah says, I think you're making great connections, Tom.
Okay.
Tom is the master of puns, says Bon. You made me almost die just then. Tom's always a pun king, and so many of them would just fly by. This is our whole relationship. He just does puns, and I'm like, he's saying it in the pun tone, but I don't know.
My favorite is when I'm saying something that's not a joke or intended to be, but for some reason it comes out with that cadence, and I'm like, oh, did you know about what we have for dinner? And you're like, what do we have for dinner? And I'm like, well, it's the
Coco team is
leftovers.
Very excited to see you analyze the story going forward. Tom is the punniest guy in our FC. There's a legit mail Moogle delivery quest line. It's not patch content, it's just side stuff. But yeah, you can do that too. Before I met all you guys, right? Before I started streaming, but had resubscribed, I was like, I need to pass the time.
The Moogles were your Hildy.
Well, I did the Moogles, but then I found that exact quest line where it starts in A Realm Reborn, I think, and there's you know how the Moogles are the one that have the mail? Mm-hmm. You help this guy deliver the mail. I started like 2, and then I think we streamed, and then
right
met all you guys. So now doing different stuff. Casual Core says, the most important void Zenos leaves is the one in my heart. Let's see. Hammer Zickled, I think I love these discussions so much, but both of you have very good literary analysis skills. Probably Tom's background as an English teacher. Yeah, what did you teach as an English teacher?
What do you mean?
Like what books and stories?
I mean a lot of Shakespeare.
Oh man.
Which was like Midsummer Night's Dream is my favorite, but a lot of Romeo and Juliet, a lot of Hamlet. I did Sound and the Fury, and then lots of articles and stuff, and short stories, and more, and then like young adult stuff. Hatchet, Brian's Winter.
I don't know what any of that is.
They're good. Holes.
Sid and Nero, my dads. Freaking love Nero. I love Sid and Nero. I mean, Nero was one I probably talked about the most.
Yeah, that's why I was like, he's got to be the villain.
Because I did the Praetorium like hundreds of times.
I knew the whole Praetorium lines without even 2 years ago. Yeah.
Nero and Sid feel like a divorced couple, and it cracks me up. Oh my god, that is like perfect. Sid and Nero, the best couple of the game. Let's see. Takes off Asian mask. Tataru. Let's see. I'm very curious to see how much the mods have had to regulate. I'm curious.
I've done a good job of not seeing things, so it's really relieving to know that anything that pops up on this screen is safe.
Yeah, look there. Exactly. Okay, Undecided Toy Store has some questions here.
Sure.
Favorite Scions? Who is your bestie in the group? Mine is Alize. She and my Warrior of Light are like close like sisters. My headcanon. Alfie is the little bro of the group playing leader.
I really like both of them a lot. And there's still the whole thing with...
Who are your favorite characters? I don't even think I
was going to say there's a whole... What's his face? I can't think of his name. The little guy, Gabu or whatever. Gabby?
Yeah.
Gabu.
Gabby.
I don't know what...
You love Gabu.
Well, that was a really like emotional thing, and we have not visited him since. So he's got abandonment
But in
issues.
terms of like the... abandonment
I mean, it's hard not to like Alphino and Alice because you do spend so much time with them and they do have so much development. So I would definitely lean towards them as being my favorites. Obviously, Lise is really cool too, and you get to know her a lot more. I mean, they're all like, there's no one in the main group that I'm like, oh, like, no, a scene with this person.
Of course.
So,
yeah, they're all great. Let's see. That's awesome that you taught Shakespeare. That means you speak Oriange.
Well, I like teaching Shakespeare because I hated Shakespeare until college. And then I had a professor who like, I even did a whole thing. I think it was like a paper like called "What's the Deal with Shakespeare?" And I was like, "Come on, man, can we just not do this anymore?" And then I had a professor who like not only helped me help frame it better, was also very passionate about it, and then believe it or not, pointed out that these plays are meant to be acted out, and it really sucks if you just have a bunch of deadpan teenagers reading it,
right?
Popcorn reading random lines or whatever. But if you act it out and you see, you know, even the goofy, I don't know, there's like so many just weird like poop jokes, and like it is not highbrow in the way that I think people think that it is.
Okay.
At all. Like at all. And it's really interesting. And it's also, then you see like cleverness when you act it out, because you start to see it's not just like, oh, there's a sword fight or whatever, but you see why, oh, this character like thrust their sword at this character but missed and hit this and did this and it led to that, and you kind of like understand, because this person was like behind a door and this person was here and they saw this but they didn't see this and they thought that. You're never going to get that if you're just reading, okay, like you be Hamlet, you be Ophelia, and you read the line, like, no.
Well, see, that's what I think is so special about 14, is that like you could read it, and I really wish that they, like, this is the closest thing, I think. I really wish there was a way to put the story into a novel, you know, or a series of novels, just for my friends who will never play this kind of a video game. But I feel like it's never going to be the same experience playing as your.
You need to live in the world. You need to see your character in the cutscenes.
I mean, every single time, like, we happen to watch a video of 14, you're like, who the hell is that?
Yeah, it cuts to their character. Like, what?
It's jarring.
Yeah. There's Which is funny because I think whenever I just wander around the world and I see like the most ridiculous looking characters that people have made with like goofy names, and then I think of like the really serious cutscenes and like that character. In the cutscene. This isn't a spoiler, but there is a part. I think you might have already been there, or no, maybe you're not. It doesn't matter. It's not a spoiler for the Hildy stuff, but there is a part because the quest line I can go through so far is basically Hildebrand through Heaven's Ward. It's like behind the current expansion.
Yeah.
There's a part, things happen. At one point, Hildy wants to go, he essentially hears about Nidhogg and wants to go defeat the dragon. And I was confused because I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm playing this in the wrong order or whatever. And then there's the scene, you know, like your character never talks or anything. It's just, but there's a thing where he goes like, okay, defeat the dragon, whatever. And then the Warrior of Light is like, and then he just goes, wow, all that happened. Like, it's literally like 3 seconds where you have told him all of it. And it's so funny to me. And then they just move on. Like, I guess we don't need to do the dragon thing.
Oh man, let's see. Let's see. Hildy isn't a scion.
Yeah,
he's a scion in my heart. Let's see. It's just a Taro standing on Wedge and Pippin.
Yeah, it's like it's wearing like the white Asian robe. It's just 3 Lullabelle.
And that's his face.
It's like Little Rascals.
I always get excited when I get to see Real or Hoary Boulder. Me too.
Yeah, me same. Absolutely.
Yeah,
not
like,
enough of them. That like.
Let's see. Shakespeare was populist humor literature of its time. Yeah, it's only recently it got a highbrow reputation.
Mm-hmm.
I have a script for New Hope written as if Shakespeare wrote it, and it's brilliant. As a teen, The Taming of the Shrew with Elizabeth Taylor was better than the book. Civilians should be a series. This is what roleplay is all about.
Midsummer Night's Dream is my favorite Shakespeare play, and then Midgard Summer I just always think of as Midsummer, and it's been confusing in my brain, the whole time since we first met him.
I bawled during Gabu, especially reading Titan's infight dialogue, where it's like he's saying what Gabu is thinking.
Yeah, that was rough because he was summoned, but with the pain of Gabu,
that was horrible. That was hard.
That was really hard. That's why I'm like, what's happening over there? We just left him with like these.
Out of correct sex, I said 14 should be a series. Yeah, I don't know if they ever would, because I think the whole point is like, go play the game. But, oh man, I would love it. Let's see. The Gentleman of Light. Midsummer Night's Dream is such a wild play.
Yeah. It's my fave.
I did this thing where I made notes as my Warrior of Light. She should have written like a personal diary of some sort, so it's safe to say I'm incredibly attached.
Oh, wow.
I wish there was some reading material for some games because my wife would love it. There are like novels for World of Warcraft and Halo that I both read.
Were they the game story? Or was it like
no,
a different
it
story?
was like lore. It was like, take the main character and here's like his whole backstory or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So like for Halo, do you know the main guy?
Nope.
There's a soldier on like every cover.
Is it Master Chief?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Master Chief. In the games, like you don't know who he is or anything.
Okay.
They don't refer to his name. They just say Master Chief.
Okay.
And so in the books, it's like, you learn.
Jeff.
It's John.
No. Okay.
I think it is. I don't remember. I read this like, I must have been high school. It was a really long time ago. But yeah, it's like those kinds of books. So there is one book, Chronicles of Light, I believe, that I have over there. It's like short stories from various characters in Eorzea, but nothing that you see on screen.
It's not the MSQ condensed into a book, which
it
would be really hard. It'd be hard to do effectively.
Yeah. But Final Fantasy 15 has a book that kind of it isn't the MSQ of 15. I don't know if it's like a continuation. I can't remember, but it was so good. Like I really liked
Oh
it.
yeah, I remember you reading that.
Yeah. I couldn't put that book down. I really, really liked it. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, obviously it can be done, but I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. Let's see. You mean John Halo. There's a bunch of short stories on the 14 website. Oh, that's right. That's what it is. The short stories that are on the 14 website are what's in that book.
Oh, okay.
I used to play Witcher, and then when it finally became a TV series, she absolutely loved it. I liked the TV series too. I watched it when you were gone.
Yeah, I remember.
We were like out of town. Let's see.
It's too scary for me.
There's free side stories on the Lodestone. I read my wife to sleep while we're apart by reading them. Oh, it's adorable. Halo: The Fall of Reach is probably the best depiction of Master Chief. Yeah, I think that's the one I read. Oh, Grandma Daniels loved Halo. Oh, that's great. Halo is one of those games. I hope Destiny the game comes out with a show. World of Warcraft does novelizations that happen between expansions to link them together a bit more, and they're all wonderful.
Nice.
This is a good discussion that could be had about the medium of video games being uniquely suited to telling certain types of stories.
True. Absolutely true.
Has your experience playing 14 met your desires of what you wanted from an MMO after reading that trilogy series that inspired Heather to recommend 14 in the first place?
Wow, good memory.
Wow. Yeah. First of all, you haven't even finished said trilogy
I'm
series.
so close to the end, but I don't want to finish
He
it.
doesn't want to. He doesn't want to let go. He doesn't want to say bye.
I don't want to do that.
But you're at he's like at 92% of this book.
I think I'm at 95 now. It's like I'm like right there. I think I'm even done with like the last big battle and everything, and like.
Well, so yeah, that's like a really good question. You're basically halfway through 14. Like, what do you think of it? Obviously, you love it, but like, is it what you thought it was gonna be?
I mean, as much as I had a vague idea of what it was, yes, it is. It's what I thought, and you had built it up really well. But yeah, it's been met or exceeded all expectations on my little evaluation.
What did you
rubric.
not expect?
I definitely didn't expect the humor. There's a lot more humor in it than
Maybe you thought more fantasy.
I think I thought more fantasy and more serious, very like drama series, which it mostly
of
is,
course, yeah.
But I think that also then makes even things that are like only slightly humorous feel very humorous because
right.
It,
like the banter, the slice of life,
yeah, and even little almost like meta references to the gameplay or to things that you've done or whatever.
Yeah.
Like characters like don't nod your head at me now or whatever. Like those kinds of things.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. We are almost gonna wrap up here, guys, because Tom's actually playing hockey today.
Mm-hmm. Shocking, I know.
Oh boy. I think 14 succeeds as a story way more as a game than a book or movie would have been. Definitely not a movie.
It feels so, a movie, because they'd have to cut like everything out. The fact that it can be so long and so big and so like you have to kind of live in the world for it to matter. We didn't talk about Hien at all.
Oh shoot. Well, see, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to write my notes real quick about him. I wrote, he was a really welcome addition. I was kind of confused about him at first based on how other characters talked. Because other characters, I was almost expecting essentially Zenos, like kind of a spoiled prince, is sort of what I was expecting.
The way that Gosetsu talks about him, the way that Yugiri talks about him.
Yeah, or almost like someone who would be threatened by like, now the Warrior of Light is here.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But then he was just like, cool. And yeah. Oh, and that's where I wrote the Nadam was interesting because it was a big deal in their region and the stakes felt high, but it had no actual impact on the greater world. Interesting to see how all of those things wove together. But yeah, he's great. And then he shows up, of course, at the end at a very pivotal moment. And like, it's a very...
Let me tell you about Hien. There's only one thing. Like, if I could sum up Hien in one word, it's his hair.
I was going to say hair.
Doesn't everyone want that hair? Are you kidding? Like,
I don't know what product he uses.
So thick. It's a ponytail. Goes like halfway down his back. I'm like, dang. What? Yeah. What's your hair care routine?
Most of his day.
We need to talk.
Yeah. Most of his day is spent on the hair.
It's so like...
If he's not on screen, he's just taking care of his hair.
He's just like... I forgot we like completely forgot to talk about him. Let's see. Oh, Final Fantasy XIV Eorzea Academy is an official manga that reimagines the characters into a modern-day high school comedy.
You're reading that right now.
It is so charming, hilarious. I'm loving every single page. I'm only a third in. Don't get it if you are not in Shadowbringers for sure. It might be up until Endwalker. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far. But oh my god, it's so adorable. It's hilarious. I love it. I keep showing Tom, like, look it, isn't that funny?
Like, I don't think this is canon.
Let me just scroll through here. I want to know what Tom thinks about the 14 Dad of Light show. Do you remember that? I started at like 5 minutes of it. It's like on Netflix.
That's all I just remember seeing it, and I didn't keep as much as I remember.
Yeah. Take care of the schedule reading though. I use Emmerich's hair. Let's see. He has it styled by 3 aura chicks every morning. We never did get Hien's hair in the game, did we? I used to have long hair for a guy in a high ponytail, but it was never as glorious as Hien's. It's just perfect. Like, my wife says enjoy Eorzea Academy. It's her favorite manga right now. Oh my gosh, so good. That's so good. So anyway, that was wonderful. So you enjoyed it.
I loved it.
See, this is the thing, because I'm like so excited for Tom to start the patch. It's like, no, we gotta stream. But see, I don't want you to be beholden to streaming.
I mean, I think it'll line up mostly, but if there's like, if there's a day where I'm like, God, I just want to dig in there. Sorry. I'm gonna dig in.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's nice, like, I just want to, like, and I feel like the way I play the game might be very frustrating to watch.
No, I think that all the time. I'm like, all the white mages watching me play are just...
No, I don't even mean that. I literally mean, like, the way I jump around.
I know, but that's part of, like, I think that's part of it is, like, seeing a first-timer to this type of game figure things out is kind of, like, the cool thing.
But I really do. I play like, okay, MSQ. I need to do Hildebrand right now. Oh, wait, wasn't I supposed to do this other just random thing? Wait, I think my Weaver's about to level up. I need to make a bunch of pants right now. And,
Let's see. I didn't want to play 14 because I liked finishing the game. After many years, my daughter bought me a subscription, promised to play together with me as well as the rest of the kids. Love it. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
I love that you guys play as a family. That's like the most adorable thing. As long as Tom asks for help when he needs it. So here's where we'll close. How do you feel about playing with other people? I know you were very nervous at first.
I like playing with the people in the Discord server and in our free company.
There you go.
Other random people have been mostly nice, but it's like fun to play with other people. And that, it's also really nice when I hit a thing where I'm like, oh my God, I need 7 other people.
Boom, we're here.
And it can actually happen instead of like, well, I guess I could go in the queue for 32 minutes or whatever.
Jumping around is essential. You're not alone in that, Tom. Everyone jumps around.
Okay. Because I think if we stream my MSQ, I want to kind of pretend that no one's watching.
Sure.
So, and I want to play the way I play, just because that's how I play the game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everyone here, well, most importantly, me, who is in charge of the channel, prioritizes your fun above all else. Like, we are shutting this down if you're not having fun.
It's been very fun.
Yeah. Like, and I think it's just sharing that fun, the way that you were having fun, is kind of the pureness of it. We can't tell you how to fun. You got to do what you gravitate to.
Right.
You know? Yeah. So anyway, guys, first of all, thank you so much for chiming in on this discussion. It was so much fun.
Yeah, thank you.
I feel like I appreciate Stormblood in a completely different way.
I loved it so much.
Wow, you hear that? There you go. Any other things you want to say?
We need to do a Hildy stream. You need to get caught up to where I'm at.
Did you hear that? You want to do a whole stream?
I want to talk. At least I want to talk so much about Hildy. So please make that happen.
I mean, if you were not interested in the Hildebrand quest lines, there's your campaign right there. So yeah, Do you have an idea of when we're going to do our first MSQ stream?
I mean, sometime this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
So
happy
soon.
Days. Someday.
Probably not tomorrow.
Probably not. Who knows what tomorrow may bring.
So soon. And if you want to stay tuned for that, check out our Discord server. There is a link in the description. The Discord server is the first to know of any streams and videos.
Smash that bell icon to get notifications.
Smash the bell. Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with everybody. Let's see. Okay, Eddie says, I'm not here to see your enjoyment from the story, not to judge you. I'm here to see your enjoyment from the story, not to judge you at all. Okay. Just to clarify. And I think everyone
I'm sure that's the case, but I just want to be clear, like...
Yeah.
If you've ever seen those things where someone puts like a GPS tracker on their cat for the night and they see where it goes and it just goes like all around the neighborhood in a way that makes no sense. I feel like that's how I play.
Tom likes when Adam gets kissed by randos.
I do not like that, by the way. So, my poor innocent boy. He's a good child, okay?
All right, everyone. Have a good night. Have a good rest of your weekend. We'll probably see you soon. So catch it later in the next one. Bye. Bye. Okay, I know the stream's totally over, but I forgot to shout out that our free company is having another event today. Avada is hosting it. We're doing our first Unreal, I think, trial something. So check out the Discord server. I won't be there, but
it's going to be unreal.
It's going to be awesome. So good luck with that, guys, and let me know how it goes. Bye.